In this video, I'm taking existing Pokemon and turn them into a more realistic and stylized version. Curious what that looks like? Stick around and find out which Pokemon I'm covering today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this brand new and special episode of Realistified, because as you've seen, today we are doing Pokemon. The idea is to make them look just a little bit more realistic and stylized while keeping the original shape and size and, you know, vibe, so to speak. I asked you guys which Pokemon I should do today, and Clownfishman requested the following.
Rayquaza!
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are for Rayquaza. Let's just get straight into it. First, I am going to trace the shape of some of his body parts. For example, these areas right here. I think it would be pretty cool if these are metal, and then the rest should be organic. Could be nice. And there you go. Now we have this beautiful shape. Then this one right here, I'm going to put right in there and then rotate it, I guess. Then we want to make sure it curves with a round shape a little bit. There you go. And then this one, I'm going to make the same sort of color as his body, I suppose. And then I'll add a nice shadow down here because I feel like it should be a bit darker there, just like so. And a bit of a highlight on top right here. Beautiful. And to make it look very nice and 3D, we are going to need these 3D edges. And then for the black tube underneath, I'm gonna make yet another shape, just like this. And that is obviously going to be black. Then I suppose it's time to make the shape for the rest of his body. So I'm just gonna go all around it, solid color, and then make it the same sort of green. Beautiful. That's a pretty good start. And actually, let's just go and do all the other shapes already as well.
A few moments later.
And that one is yellow, of course. Pretty interesting. Let's go and make these look metal first. I'm again putting the same texture in it and making it a bit roundish. Same idea for the other one on the top here. That is looking pretty nice. Now let's make a nice shadow on the main sort of body part and a bit of a highlight on the side here and all the way up his neck as well, like that. And here we're gonna go into a bit more detail to make sure his jaw looks very nice and natural. Just adding a bit of a shadow there. See how that makes a nice shape? I love that. Now before I can really add detail to this head, I first need to know where the eye is. So let's go and trace the shape right here. There you go. And make it fade out a little bit so it sort of naturally fades into the skin. That is definitely a lot better. Wow. Now for the organic parts of his body, I have this beautiful skill texture, which I am going to use. I feel like that's going to bring in some contrast, which is exactly what we need, like contrast between the metal parts and the organic parts. So let me just put it right here and then use some liquify again to make sure it looks roundish. Just the exact same thing we did before, just like so. And there we have it. Then I'm going to put this on luminosity, and we should probably also make it a bit brighter, just like that. I just have to make sure it looks a bit more realistic on the sides because the scales obviously have some texture. Then I want a bit of an extra highlight on the side here. There you go. This also makes it look nice and shiny, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Now the yellow looks a bit strange, so I'm going to try fixing that by using blend if. So the scales kind of, that is what I mean. Okay, and that exact same thing I'm going to do for the other areas as well. For example, this one.
A few
That right there is finally getting some shape. I like it. Now, for the inside of his mouth, I have this one. And as you can see, that is going to require a lot of warp. So let's just get straight into it. This one should go all the way in this corner. This is definitely starting to look like something here. Now let's go and add some shadows to integrate it perfectly with the skin. It maybe could be worth it to make a tongue. We will add some shadows on that to make it look a bit more convincing, and then that should be very nice. This definitely looks a bit more Rayquaza-like, if you ask me. Now let's go and give this guy an eye. I've got this yellow one here because obviously his eye is yellow. Then I will erase some stuff on the edges, and then we should probably go and add some sort of reflection to his eye, something like this. Yes, that is pretty nice. We still need to add some teeth on the front here. Very, very nice. Now we just have these flaps, which I haven't made yet, so we should probably work on those. Now let's go and add a bunch of shadows because it's pretty much in the shadow of the beast itself, and a nice extra edge right there, something like that. That is pretty cool. Now I'm gonna do the same thing a bunch of times over and over again, so I'm gonna skip that because that's boring to watch. And there you go, that's another metal part. I'm gonna grab some lunch. I'll be right back. Now, a very important thing we don't have yet are these strange shapes. So these I am going to trace first, and then we'll give this one a similar color to the rest of his body, something like this. Then I'm gonna kind of fade it out here. A lot of shadows once again. Then we can put the same scales texture on it, and there you go. Of course, he has more of those, so let's just go and paint these as well. Very, very nice. Look at that. Obviously, we do need the tail, but first I want to do the arms because those seem a bit more important. Now, guess what? Of course, this is the exact same thing we've been doing a million times today. So let me just go ahead and trace all these shapes, and then I'll be right back with you. And now, really all it comes down to is just me adding the same effects, the same filters, the same textures. So let me just do that, and yeah. With his arm, that is looking a lot better. So now we need to do the exact same thing on the other side as well. In 3, 2, 1, beam! There is the second arm. Beautiful. And you know what? Since we all know how this goes by now, let's just magically pop in the tail as well. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Absolutely fantastic. Now it is time to put this guy in an environment and make him look just a bit more popping and shiny and cool. So let's go and do that right now. Weirdly enough, I don't find the difference that big. Like, was this worth 3 hours? I don't know, I guess you tell me. Then the next one was requested by 𝐃𝐫.
Squirtle!
Ladies and gentlemen, first I'm gonna trace the shape of his head because that seems like a nice place to start. Let's just go all around it, just like the previous one. And there you go, a beautiful white shape. I'm going to make that blue, and now we are instantly gonna try and fill this up with a bunch of textures and cool stuff. For some reference, I'm gonna add these lines, and then I am just gonna go all around this and make a nice shadow. For this one, the light is gonna be coming from the top left, I feel like. It just keeps blowing my mind how much this instantly does. It's beautiful. And this right here is gonna be the mouth, and we also want to kind of make that shape of his nose like that. Oh, that looks strange. It looks like a blobfish. What the hell? This is getting some shape though, so that's good. I just don't know where his eyes should be. Let's actually just go ahead and make the shape for the eye already, because why not? Now we can see very clearly where we need these shadows. Very nice. This is definitely getting shape. It started out a bit cursed, but I guess it's gonna go in the right direction right about now. Then I think it's time to add some highlights as well, just like that, to give it some extra depth. Very good. Now let's see what we can do with this texture. This is obviously gonna need a bunch of warp, so let's go ahead and do that. I'd say that's a decent start. Then let's hide it, and we can paint over some areas where we want to see it. And I'm not exactly sure where that is going to be, so I guess we'll just kind of do it like this first. And maybe we can sort of put this around the mouth area. For some reason that feels like a good idea. Maybe a little bit around his eye, like that. Now this is looking pretty good. Then for his eye, I thought maybe this would be a good choice. I'm not sure, I guess we'll see. I'm gonna put that right in there. Very nice, on the edges like that. Like that. That actually works. Dude, that was way easier than I thought. And the exact same thing on the left as well. Then we simply have to make sure it has this red tint in it because of course Squirtle has red eyes, just like that. I like that. For his body, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna need another shape, so let's just do that. And for his tummy, I'm gonna try using this one. Let's put it right in there, and then we just have to use some warp to make sure it fits the shape. Or actually, let's go and use Liquify instead. It seems a bit easier. Let's try something like this and see what that looks like. Yes, that's pretty good. Let's go and add some shadows. Make the whole thing look a bit more round like that. And I'm also gonna try adding some shadows to these pads, so to speak, to make sure these look a bit more 3D as well, because right now I'm just not really buying it. We are gonna pop this shell right on top of it, so let's go and move it down. And then let's use, again, some Liquify. I'm just gonna try and make this fit as best as I can, and I think something like this shouldn't even be so bad. Then let's go and trace the shapes for his arms and legs and tail, of course. Then we have to fill those in with shadows and textures, and then I'm pretty sure we're all set. More shadows. What a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. I have to try and make these little hands right here, which is a little bit difficult, but I'm sure we can make it work. There you go. That is exactly... Yes, that's actually good. What the heck? Let's finish this off with a nice highlight again. And then the legs. So much fun this is. Same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Then I'm adding some final shadows under his arms to make sure that looks a bit more realistic, because right now it looks like they're absolutely freaking floating, which is not great. And to be fair, same goes for the legs. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have Squirtle. I think it's pretty much done. So let's go and put this guy in an environment and see whatever that looks like. Very well. I feel like this one looks rather realistic, whereas Rayquaza is more like a improved version, I feel like. I mean, it's cool either way, I guess. Then the final one for today is gonna be a speed art, so you can see exactly what I do step by step, and that one was requested by Voltrox.
Lugia!
This was definitely a fun thing to try, especially because normally we just do normal drawings from you guys. But I'm not sure, for some reason the results are less satisfying than usually. And that's probably because these Pokemon are pretty much detailed already, like on their own. Apart from that though, I'm still very happy with the results. So if you are too and want to see more, definitely let me know down below in the comments, because then I know you guys like this. Also, like the video, subscribe, share this video, and then I guess I'll see you in my next video.